Hey everybody, welcome back to the video side of Linux for Everyone, and welcome home. So, listeners of the podcast might remember back in episode 11 when Artyom Zorin, the founder of Zorin OS, shared that the team was developing a deployment tool, a solution for businesses and schools and organizations to easily and centrally deploy apps and new PCs. Well, this is what they've been working on, and it's called Zorin Grid. Zorin Grid is aimed specifically at organizations still running Windows 7 who want an alternative to buying new hardware or upgrading to Windows 10. In a nutshell, Zorin Grid is a cloud-powered tool that makes it simple to set up, manage, monitor, and secure a fleet of Zorin OS computers. Although it may be a slight exaggeration, the Zorin team says its new solution is like putting your PCs on autopilot. The spark that ignited the idea for Zorin Grid happened when the city of Vicenza, Italy, switched their city's PC infrastructure from Windows to Zorin OS back in 2016. They explained that while Zorin OS's lower hardware requirements meant they could extend the life of the city's PCs by about 40%, it came with a pain point. Onboarding and managing the computers was time-consuming and laborious. There wasn't an easy, centralized way to install and remove apps or change settings and monitor how their computers were being used across the board. Since then, the Zorin team has been working with various organizations, soliciting feedback, and building Zorin Grid for about the past 2 years. Now, I asked Zorin OS founder Artyom Zorin if he was concerned about announcing Zorin Grid a full 6 months before its anticipated launch, and he had this to say, quote, "Significant IT migration, like switching OSs, often takes months for larger organizations to finish. We're recommending organizations to start preparing for a full-scale migration to Linux now and in stages with the new guide we've published." So I've had a look at this migration guide, and it's exceptional. It uses easy-to-understand language and includes not just installing Zorin OS, but there's also a comprehensive table of alternative and cross-platform apps that are available in Linux for people who are coming from Microsoft's waters. It covers both commercial and open-source alternatives for remote desktop, Microsoft Office and Outlook, AutoCAD, Adobe Illustrator, Premiere Pro and Photoshop, Cinema 4D, and a bunch of other things, and the links lead directly to every app's homepage. The guide also has some great suggestions for slowly easing employees into the transition from Windows to Zorin OS. What's especially cool about this is it can be easily adapted for pretty much any other Linux distribution, and that's something the Zorin OS team is 100% behind. On a very related note, the Zorin Grid roadmap includes adding support for other Linux distributions shortly after it launches. The cost for the Zorin Grid service hasn't been announced yet, but I do know that reduced pricing will be available for schools and for nonprofit organizations. The announcement and the migration guide went live today, and you can absorb all those details at zorinos.com/grid. If you enjoyed this little news video, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It'll help me out a lot, and you'll also get the Linux for Everyone podcast and all future videos under one roof. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care, and take care of each other. So you may remember, if you listen to the podcast, back in episode 11, Zardium... Zardium...